Okay. All right, everyone. Welcome to our second virtual session in our April Spring Forward session, continuing ed sessions, hosting a virtual open house. We have Sally Young from the Kiwanis Club of Bald Eagle and Nittany Valley from the Division 12 North to present this evening. I'm excited to have Sally. She is the current treasurer of BENB, and she was the membership chair for the last 3 years, I believe, Sally. And she is going to talk to us about how we can get away from, still be able to recruit and invite members into Kiwanis during the pandemic. And hopefully you get some tips and tricks from Sally about how to make your own virtual open house. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Sally.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight and viewing this with us. And I want to thank Sarah and Tiffany and the rest of the district membership committee for asking me to do this webinar and for also doing all the other webinars these Thursdays in April and keeping us informed, getting us ready for May membership month. So if you're watching the recorded version, I would like to thank you for tuning into that as well. And hopefully we can give you some insight and inspire you to do your own virtual open house with your club. Okay, tonight's objectives are going to be to, 1, define a virtual open house. And we're going to talk about organizing your virtual open house. I'm going to walk through the example that we did with our club last June. And then I'm going to explain where you can find some more information about virtual open houses and some of this technology in general. And then we'll do open discussion and I'll take any questions and Sarah and Tiffany will be here to answer your questions as well. We're going to start off with a little poll just to be respectful of everyone's time. And Sarah's going to help us with this, but we kind of just want to know if your club has held meetings or any other events virtually since COVID to see how many people are actually doing virtual meetings.
Okay, so 1 second. So what you do, if you have your phone handy, you can scan that QR code in this, and the survey will come up on your phone. And I don't know why that was red came up. So if not, I'm going to share in the chat. 1 second, a link for you real quick, and you can click that also. So there's a link in the chat if you can't get it with your phone. So what you do is you turn on your camera and scan that QR code, and your survey will come up, and you can press yes or no on that. And then you can see what everyone else is doing. And I will check here and see how people are doing here. All right. People are answering. We have 88% saying yes, and what's that? 13% are saying no. So that's not too bad. Okay, great. All right, so we'll go on to the next one. Are you good with that, Sally?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So the next question is, have you have you held an open house prior to COVID-19? So have you done an in-person open house?
If you don't have that link, I will again put it in the chat. Looks like 3 votes. Why keeps moving? Okay, there it is. No, a lot of no's here. 67% of people have not. Okay,
Okay, so
that's good.
that's good
All
because
right.
we're going to go over an open house and a virtual open house at the same time. So we'll cover both.
Right. 1 second.
Yeah.
Got those going. All right.
Okay, so what is an open house? It's a chance for you to meet and greet your potential new members and people of your community. It's a chance for you to have fellowship with those same people. It's a chance for you to get community input and community involvement from your community leaders, your community government. It's a chance for you to showcase your club. What is your club doing for your community? And it's also a chance for you to sell your club and to gain new members. And that's your focus. And so, sometimes an open house can be stigmatized by the real estate market or a graduation party or celebration. So you may want to change up the name of it to be like a membership showcase or a town hall or community town hall. Just it all depends what your theme of the event is going to be. Okay. And you may be asking, what's a virtual open house? Well, a virtual open house is the same exact thing as an open house that you would do in person, only it's held virtually, like we're doing tonight. There's several advantages of going virtual. First of all, it can be pulled together relatively quickly and easily. And I realize that today's April 15th and May is membership month, but you could easily pull this together in time for that May membership push. Easily. Secondly, the venue is already secured. You don't have to book a venue. You don't have to pay those fees. You don't have to go early and set up and decorate and provide refreshments and door prizes, and none of that is involved. You guys are all sitting in your own homes, providing your own refreshments, and there's no cost, there's no setup fee. Thirdly, the time commitment for everyone is lessened. We're only going to spend an hour here tonight as opposed to driving for an hour or two, attend it, and then turn around and drive back. And it's the same for your speakers, your guests, your members, your committee. So that's a huge time saver. The availability of speakers. You don't have to travel. Like if Sarah would have emailed me and said, hey, can you come to Philly and talk about a virtual open house? I probably most definitely would have said no. I'm not going to take a half day's vacation from work to drive 3 hours to Philly and give my presentation and drive 3 hours back home. And that's a huge advantage when you're looking for speakers. Also, you can control your audience. You're going to have everyone pre-register. They're going to RSVP. You're going to have their contact information. You're going to be able to control who comes into the Zoom room. We all have our communities, and Conrad can attest to this. You all have those, people in the community that might be a little opinionated and vocal. They're always writing letters to the editor, those type of people. And we all have them in our communities. And if you're having this in person and they show up at the door, you can't bounce them out. But you can maybe just not click them into your Zoom room, or you can mute them and say, oh, sorry, your microphone's not working. So you know your audience ahead of time. Also, you have the ability to record and archive this. So you can see it, people can view this at their leisure. You can promote it on Facebook. You can promote it on your webpage. You can send it out to the people that maybe they registered and something came up, their kid was sick, they couldn't make it. They will send them the link and they can view it at their own time. There's so much flexibility with this, and you can really, really get creative. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about the 4 components. Okay, your open house must be welcoming, informative, engaging, and fun. And it's hard to do that virtually as opposed to in person, but there's a couple things you can try to do to engage your audience and your members and the potential members. If you invite a diverse, community-minded individuals, that's automatically going to happen for you. I would also suggest within your club or your committee or your co-Kiwanians is maybe stage some questions for the end, just to keep the flow rolling and the interactivity going. Maybe stage some chat questions, things like that. The key to a virtual open house is the same as the in-person event. You want to sell your club to potential new members. What's your club known for? What's its niche? What's its key community projects? You want to keep this your main focus and keep your club showcased and center stage during this whole time. Okay, so now we're going to go quickly through the steps. And step 1 is to prepare. You want to select a project lead and a committee. It's basically the same as you would do for an in-person open house, so don't let it be scary. I would suggest that your project lead be your membership chair or your president, or even if you have a PR person, you could choose them. Your committee should minimally be your membership chair, your president, and you should have someone that's technologically skilled, or at least willing to learn the technology behind a virtual open house. It's all new to us, but we're all here tonight. We're all Zooming. So it's not too hard to learn. You should secure your key speakers. There are so many motivational speakers out there that are not working. They're not allowed to be at events right now. So take advantage of that, reach out. Again, travel isn't an issue. So you can get someone that's in Hawaii or Alaska or anywhere in the world. And if you don't want to do a speaker, maybe do a virtual service project or a virtual social. Those are becoming popular with like cooking classes and wine tasting, that kind of thing. You want to coordinate your audience. We all have those people that are potentially on our list of potential members. You want to keep those there. Keep them in the forefront. And then you want to have someone keep that list. If you have a keeper of your prospect list, and how are you going to ensure that they're all reached and they're all invited? Next, you're going to want to pick your virtual platform. Right now we're using Zoom, and that's what we used. I would suggest that, but there's other platforms out there like GoToMeeting, Google Meet. I think most people are more familiar with Zoom, but just use whatever you're most comfortable with. Next, you want to come up with a program and an agenda and stick to that program. Make sure everyone that is involved in the program is aware of their duties and what's expected of them so that you can keep that flow going throughout the evening. Next, you want to work on promotion, public relations. How are you going to get this out there? Last week, Sarah and Tiffany talked about how to create a Facebook event. That's exactly where I would start. And they talked about boosting the event. This is definitely a place where you would want to boost it because you're going to reach people that don't necessarily follow your page. You have that audience established. You need to get outside of that box and reach the people, all the people in Facebook land. So this is definitely a time to boost. And then you're going to want to do a follow-up plan and decide how you're going to reach the people that did attend and follow up, see if they have any questions. If they registered but weren't able to attend, you want to make sure they get the link so that they can view it. And you can also use this as a club strengthening tool for your existing members. Maybe they didn't attend it, but show it to them. Share it on your email. Sometimes people are surprised how well your club is doing. And so you can use it as a club strengthening tool for your existing members. Okay, step 2 is the invite itself. And this is not unlike the same steps in your in-person open house. You're going to have your prospect list of your friends, your neighbors, the people that you've been bugging to join Kiwanis, your Facebook followers. You want to invite community residents, community leaders, community government officials, and business leaders. You want to do it through Facebook, social media. You can do print ads, radio ads, email, mailings through the USPS. Just keep it individualized and keep it personal. And you can still make the phone calls to your potential members. You know your audience, you know your invitees, you know what works best for them in forms of communication. So take those options and individualize it to the people you're trying to recruit. Okay, step 3 is the execution. You want to select an MC or a moderator or a greeter. we all have that awkward moment when we join the Zoom room. We're all like, oh, can they see me? Can they not see me? Do I have spinach in my teeth? Am I in the right Zoom link? So you want to welcome them when they come in, and you want to pick someone that's going to be energetic and personable. You can also, and then you're going to welcome them. And you can also do like an icebreaker, but I would caution here because some of those can be time consuming and you don't want them to take up the entire time. And also some icebreakers are dependent on the participation of the audience. And if you've got an audience that's not participating for an icebreaker and you need them to be, it could set a bad tone for the rest. So I would caution against them, or pick something that's simple. Be respectful of your speakers. Let your community keynote speaker captivate your audience. This is someone that's going to motivate them, keep their interest, pique their interest. Someone that's going to relate to everyone in the audience. And then have a Kiwanis speaker relate what your keynote speaker talked about and motivated you to do. Let them relate that to Kiwanis and how Kiwanis ties in to what their message said. And this can be Kiwanis in general. It wouldn't have to be specific to your club. Just get the Kiwanis name out there. And then I would let your president or your membership chair, someone that's very dynamic and passionate about your club, talk about what your club is doing in the community, the impact that it's having, your service projects. Cite specific examples that you're known for. I would showcase your website, your Facebook pages, any social media pages, a newsletter if you do newsletters. And if you don't, I highly recommend that you do. It's a great way to summarize all your club's activities into one spot. And even if you're the author of the newsletter, you sometimes are surprised when you put everything into a newsletter that your club's doing. It may not seem like a lot till you put it all together in one spot. And this is another way to strengthen your existing members and strengthen your own club. Then after that is when you're going to call on your membership chair or your president or whoever's best at recruiting within your club. Is you want to hit them with the recruitment, hit them with the sell. You want to give them lots of different options to join, and different ways to complete that membership application, whether it be online, through social media, through a membership brochure. There's lots of different ways to get them to apply. You just need that application. And then you want to allow time for questions and answers. And I would suggest holding this till the end of the presentation, and then let your moderator handle those questions and direct them to the specific individual that they relate to. You want to be respectful of any open discussion, and you might want to prepare an exit strategy if something gets controversial. I don't see that happening, but in a Kiwanis open house, but you just never know. You just always need to be aware of who your speakers are and your audience. And then you want to conclude with thanking your speakers and the audience, or any sponsors that you may have had for the event. And a couple other notes here is you want to do some pre-testing with your virtual platform. With this, if your speakers or presenters have PowerPoints or videos, you want to make sure that there's not any technical hiccups. There's going to be a few technical hiccups here and there. I don't think I've attended many Zooms that didn't, but you want to work as many of those out as possible. And then follow your agenda and keep that ball rolling. And again, if you're having a hard time finding a speaker or picking a theme, consider doing a virtual service project. The importance that you want to concentrate on is getting your audience there, showcasing your club. The rest is just gonna, your passion's gonna take over, and the rest is just gonna fall into place for you. Okay, step 4 is the follow-up. You're already going to have, through your Zoom technology or whatever technology you have, you're going to have the contact information for and the emails of all of your attendees. So you're going to want to address them personally after the event. Even the ones that may have registered and they didn't show up in the Zoom, you still want to reach out to them, give them a link to the recording. You want to include your contact information, maybe a copy of a club brochure, your newsletters, any website links to your club website or Facebook page, and very importantly, you want to have a membership application if it's not already part of your brochure or on your website. And it's a nice thing to do a thank you card or a thank you note. If you have personal friends join you, keep it personal and don't underestimate the power of a handwritten note, a text, or phone call. People like to feel wanted, they like to feel special, and you can certainly let that happen. Okay. Sarah has put up on the screen, this is an example of the program that we did for our virtual open house back in last June, almost a year ago. We had a motivational speaker from State College. His name was Joe Batista, and he has a really good book out that you should buy if you haven't already, but he's very, very motivational. And he talked about being resilience and endurance during a pandemic, and which was, beneficial to anyone that was watching, even if it had nothing to do with Kiwanis. And then we had Kathy Zemansky, who we all know and love, and she was our Kiwanis keynote speaker, and she tied what Joe talked about into Kiwanis and the endurance and the resiliency that Kiwanis has and can give you. And then, since I was membership chair at the time, I tied in what our club specifically was doing during the pandemic to keep the community service projects going. And then we had Penny Myers, who you also most know and love. She was our incoming president, and she's one of our top recruiters. So she was the one that actually sold the club. And of course, we had Matt Wise, and he was our technical guru. He was our MC. He was our moderator. and he helped walk us through all of that. So, and I know that all of them would be happy to help you if you had any questions regarding a virtual open house. So that's what we did. And then your last step is going to be your post promotion. Okay, it's time to celebrate. Your event's over. It went very well. You want to thank your speakers publicly on social media. People like to be recognized. They like to be appreciated. Again, don't underestimate the power of a thank you, handwritten thank you note. I know for us, Joe didn't charge us anything to speak for us, but we did get him a gift certificate to a local restaurant so he could take his wife out to dinner. And he truly did appreciate that. Thank your attendees for coming. They did take time to come, and they gave you an hour or so of your time, and you want to thank them for that. You want to share the recorded video on your Facebook page or website. You want to share it with your club. Again, use that as a club strengthening tool. You just want to keep showcasing your club. That's never ever going to end. You always want to be showcasing your club. And then you're going to sit down as a committee and you're going to analyze what you did right, what you did wrong. Keep making those contacts. If people didn't commit that night, that doesn't mean they might not a month from now. The timing might not be right. You just always have to do that ask. And then I would start planning your next event. I feel open houses should be held at least once a year, but they can certainly be held more often. You can target different audiences. You can do different themes. You can go with the seasons, or if there's different community issues that come up in your community, just tie them around that. Use your community. Use it as a way to analyze your community and your community analysis. Maybe you'd want to have an open house just for your local government officials. What can we do to help local government? Maybe you want to do a corporate member open house where you invite various business leaders and then just have business leaders show them what you can do for them as being a corporate member and the advantages of that. But there's so much flexibility, and you really, really want to use that to your advantage. Okay, and we have an example. I'm not going to show the video because that would take up way too much time, but our example we put on Vimeo. You can use YouTube, whatever's easiest for you, whatever you're comfortable with. But there's the link to the video. If anyone wants to watch it as an example, they can. And we also have an example of the poster that we use to promote it. I'm sure it's going to pop. There it comes. But there we featured Joe Batista and Kathy Szymanski's pictures and a little biography. And again, I would encourage you to have people register, not just put out the Zoom link. I think you're taking a little bit of a risk there. I mean, if you're comfortable, go for it. But I think it's better if you have them register, and then once they register, they'll receive the link, and you know who's coming or has the potential to be coming. Okay. And where can we find more information? Well, Kiwanis.org, as you all know, has lots of tools and resources. It's full of tools and resources for virtual and open houses and membership techniques and recruitment techniques. I would also suggest using Canva to do your posters or your graphics. It's very, very simple to use. I am not a graphic designer whatsoever. And it's actually very, very easy to use. And there's all kinds of different templates on there for newsletters, for posters, for anything that your club needs. I would definitely take advantage of that. And not just for a virtual open house, but for anything in your club. It's very, very simple to use. Zoom.com, they have great tutorials, and a lot of them are video as well. So they'll walk you through screen by screen what you need to do. There's lots of different options there. And we also have our district membership committee with Sarah and Tiffany and Matt, and I'm not sure who else is on there, but they're always there to help you, and you can always reach out to them. And I would be amiss if I did not mention that your regional trustees and your lieutenant governors are also out there to help. If they don't have the answers, they're going to find them for you. And here is my personal information. If anyone has any questions about a virtual open house or anything else I've mentioned here tonight, you can always email me. There's my phone number, text, call. And I also put our website up there. We just redid our website, and I had nothing to do with it because I'm not technologically inclined, but we have a newer member that is, and he did a great job and setting that up. So you may want to take a look at that and get some insight and inspiration.
Thank you, Sally. That was great, Sally. Ooh, I'm gonna move Kiba. So I did put the video that Sally was talking about, just so you saw this of their virtual open house. It's in the chat. We'll also give you these slides. I'll have the link to it if you can't view it now, but it was a great session. So I highly recommend you guys check that out. Thanks, Sally, for sharing that. Appreciate that.
For having me.
Absolutely. Does anyone have any questions for Sally? Feel free to raise your hand within the chat or unmute themselves, or you can put the question in the chat. And while we have Sally or anyone else, I know Tiffany's on too as a district membership chair. Any questions, let us know. So there is a question. How successful was your open house? Like, how many prospects did you invite? How many at the end joined on that event?
We had 2 that joined because of it. And we had a lot of great feedback from the community on it. I mean, they were very grateful that we had Joe come and talk about the pandemic. So we made a lot of community connections through it as well. So, you know, I wouldn't really concentrate on the numbers as much as I would the community impact that it had. You know, choosing a topic that is community wide is really going to be beneficial to sell your club.
Excellent. How many people attended the open house is a question.
Okay. I think we had around 20 that viewed it live, and I don't have the statistics on how many may have viewed it after the fact. But like I said, here it is a year later, we're still sharing it with you. It's still helping clubs.
Absolutely. Any other questions? We're looking at time, so I want to share one last thing with everyone if no one has questions for Sally. Our next session will be next Thursday, April 22nd at 7 p.m. Membership Success Story, presented by Miranda Burton from Kiwanis Club of Phillipsburg. So we will hear from what are the tools and resources they use to boost their club. At the end of December, they were plus 11. So that was a big success during this pandemic. So we're eager to hear from Miranda and see what Phillipsburg has done. So please join us next Thursday at 7. So again, thank you, Sally, for presenting this evening. And thank you, everyone in the district and outside our district. We have a few visitors that joined us. We thank you for joining us this evening. Have a good night.